the wealth battle in your life. As always, this talk is being recorded, so everything you say can and will be used to help others reach financial freedom. For those of you that don't know, I'm Lisa, and this is my main man, Brahm. So who am I? Well, I'm a former rule follower. I kind of made up rules just to follow them. I did all of the things I was supposed to do. I went to school. I got good grades. I went to a reputable university. I got degrees in neuroscience and biology. I landed the job and I made great money. But I never actually lived my life. I even showered at the gym because I was paying for the gym membership and it was the sensible thing to do to save on hot water. I did all of the dumb things to make money and to save money for my future. Not that I even knew what that meant, but logic told me that if I use my money now, I wouldn't have it later. So I was told to start saving for retirement yesterday. So being the good girl, of course, I maxed out my IRA and my 401k contributions. And one day I was talking to my brother about money and was pondering how to get ahead in life. I made good money, yet so much of my money was squirreled away in these retirement accounts and dead to me. And I actually said it's dead to me, not thinking anything of it. And he pointed it out, and it seemed pretty ridiculous when he did so. And that's when I realized how effed the system was and that there must be a better way and that it was time for me to learn how all this stuff worked. So as a good little student, I set about learning the financial system, to my horror. And on my journey, I also started hanging out with real estate investors because it occurred to me that they had figured some things out that I clearly didn't know. And like a fool, I was doing things that the rich and the famous and the banks and the institutions, financial advisors were all telling me to do, instead of evaluating what they were doing and being more like them in certain regards. But following along with the masses wasn't likely to be the answer. So why was I doing that? I did a lot of research. I made some dramatic changes in my life and my mindset. I started talking to friends, family, peers, people on the street, really anyone that would talk to me. And you know what I found? That most people are clueless and fearful about money. They knew little about finances and resorted to appealing to authority or just rejecting the system completely. And neither are powerful positions. And yes, many freedom-minded folks proudly declare they have a 401k. And this terrified me. Now, my dad was a heat miser. I don't know if that's a dad thing everywhere. It seems like masters of the thermostat is a fairly universal phenomenon. Anyway, I grew up on the East Coast, on the Jersey Shore to be precise. And for many months of the year, it was cold. But there was this magical box on the wall that was not to be touched, that controlled the temperature in the house. We could actually make it warmer, but we didn't dare bump that temperature up. There was some unwritten rule that it was off limits. You were to put on a sweater, and in my case, a hat and coat and gloves and sleep with the dog. And even when Dad went away on business, we didn't dare.
Mom, can I turn the heat up?
Oh, don't touch the thermostat, Meg, if Father gets upset.
Come on, this thing goes up to 90.
Who touched your thermostat?
God, how does he always know?
Brain implant, Meg. Every father's got one. Tells you when the children are messing with the dial.
Hey, Peter, my thing went off. Your thermostat okay?
Yeah, it's all right.
Hey, is my kid over here?
Forget it. False alarm.
Whoa, ass ahoy.
So yeah, I seem to have gotten this as well. But it's more every time I hear a qualified plan or 401k, IRA, 529 plans, mutual funds, assets under management, live debt free, buy term and invest the difference, YOLO, my thing goes off. That's when my best buddy Case and I started Wealth Battle. So we aren't bounced around by circumstance. So we increase our autonomy. So we have the resources to do the things, make the contributions, contribute to change. So we can make the old systems obsolete. Because I believe with informed actions, we can all be wealthy. We don't need to appeal to authority, and wealth doesn't need to be a dirty word. So why does this mission matter? How does this actually play out in life right now? Well, months ago, I was headed out to Texas to do a talk when my car alerted me of low tire pressure. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this is a minor inconvenience, but the reality is I needed air in the tires for the duration of my drive down. Now, a new set of tires can run $600, or performance tires like mine a lot more, apparently. But what if I didn't have $600? This could dramatically impact my plans and my opportunity. According to the Federal Reserve, who we all trust implicitly, 40% of Americans can't come up with $400 in an emergency. Now, that's a lot of people impacted by a flat tire. What if it's something more serious? What if your earning potential was severely limited for a year or forever due to a new law or mandate by the government? Would you be able to make it? Or would you be full of stress? This is the wealth battle in your life. So let's take a moment to define wealth. Some people have a visceral reaction to the word. I just think it's having an abundance. It can include health, material wealth, happiness, all on my terms. To be wealthy is to be in a position to not be bounced around by circumstance, to do the things I want to do, to take advantage of opportunities, heck, to be able to see the opportunities in the first place, and not worry about the necessities and live in the world of surviving. But then also to build legacy, like we can live into a future that's better, that starts the next generation off even better. But what's the reality today? A lot of people are trapped in the rat race. It's the world of have to, where the outflows exceed the inflows, where you feel like you're struggling just to make ends meet, where you're stressed morning, noon, and night about what's going to happen to you. And the key to dropping the stress, well, it's just 7 letters long. IBORC. Say it with me, IBORC. It's just a handy phrase to remember the 7 steps to escaping the rat race, which are income, earn more, bring more dollars in, budget, give those dollars jobs, opportunity funds, grow, protect, and use your funds. Don't let your money be dead to you. Ascending cash flows. Be sure to have a financial foundation. Start with more control and less risk, and then you can choose moving up to less control and more risk. Reduce thyself. Get your time back. Speculate if you choose, and only once you have a solid foundation and truly can afford to lose it. And escape and stay out of the rat race. We won't have time to cover the 7 steps to escape the rat race tonight, but check out wealthbattle.com and subscribe to learn oodles and oodles more. The 7 steps to escape the rat race is not a prescription of do X, then Y, rather a description of a logical framework that you should be able to compare against other financial methodologies. So level up your financial education to be more resilient in life. Now, it seems like most people have to move faster in order to maintain where they were last year, while the rich can coast along. Now, some of the reasons are attributed to fractional reserve or no reserve banking, the continuous printing of the money via the Fed, government proposed economic bailouts, and many, many more reasons. During the COVID toilet paper crisis, I actually had a tenant in one of my rental properties ask if toilet paper was included in the lease. What? And soon after the TP incident, I saw this down the street. It was a bodacious and flagrant display of toilet paper on their dash. Weren't we all taught to keep our valuables out of sight? I believe our personal autonomy is important, so don't be reduced to begging for paper to wipe your butt. That is not a powerful position to be in. So what about you? Where do you stand? Whether you're dutifully doing what you're told or have completely rejected the system, let's check out what you're up against with the banking system. The banks. Have you ever thought about how they work? Now, banks hold funds from depositors and provide funds to borrowers. Banks are typically thought of as safe, secure places for your funds. That's a topic for another time. Now, the depositor stores money in the bank for benefit. This used to be in the form of interest. You'd earn money for storing your money in the bank, but those times are gone. It's no longer money, it's currency, and your benefit comes in the form of security and conveniences like online banking, bill pay, mobile apps. Now, the borrower uses depositors' money for purchases, mortgages, auto loans, commercial loans, home improvements, and the bank serves as a third party and skims a lot of money off the top. Now, if you don't know the math on this and love scary things, let's hang out later. I'll do a series with calculators and we can do the math. Now, both the depositor and the borrower are paying for the show. Without a depositor, there can be no borrower. And without a borrower, there can be no banking system in its current incarnation. Now, there's so many interesting things about this model. How do we be more like the banks instead of doing what they say? How do we leverage our own resources to benefit ourselves? A lot. Start asking yourself why banks and other financial institutions are incentivizing you to do something. It must be to their advantage. One of the more common ones I hear is take out a 15-year mortgage rather than a 30. You'll save on interest. Or pay off your mortgage early, double up those payments. Well, why are they saying that? Take the time to understand and be more like them. And you know what else makes me mad? The sheer number of half-truths, incomplete stories, straight up lies around wealth. Now, here's the typical American retirement plan in a nutshell and how it works. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. This is the part of the choose your own adventure where you go the other way. This strategy is full of guesswork, hope, and futility. You're building up a pot of money, a nest egg, as some say, and you need to figure out how you'll divvy that up for the rest of your life. Now, nest eggs are finite vessels. So let's get to figuring. Determine a year when you'll stop working. Make an assessment. How are you feeling? Do you think you'll live a long life? Well, you best figure out how long you're going to live now so you can plan properly. Then project the rate of inflation. Determine your future lifestyle costs, how much you'll need for the tax man. Assume your future tax bracket. Your guess is as good as mine. I would imagine they'll go up, though. I haven't really seen them go down very much. Then we get to the hopes and prayers part. Hope for all growth years, especially when you need the money most. And die with nothing. Why is this so hard? Like, traditional financial advising involves fixing a lot of variables and planning according to that fantasy scenario. The other gem is when financial advisors ask, like, how much will you need in retirement? As if you or any of us have any clue. Who knows what's going to happen? So what are some of those variables? Well, the market is a biggie. It's clearly a rigged system, not in my favor. The market doesn't take my calls or business advice. I can't choose the timing of the down years for my portfolio because we know there will be some in a market cycle. And if I withdraw money to live on while the market's down, I suffer additional consequences in retirement. Then there are taxes, tax codes, all controlled by the government. Then they put age restrictions on my money. I get penalized if I access my money before they say I can. And then at some point, I'm required to take distributions from my funds. And they set the tax rates all along the way. What about illnesses, disabilities, cost of living, food and nutrition, and on and on and on? And with all of that said, if you do it all just right, you make it. You die with no money. But you didn't live frugally in life, yet you also didn't leave anyone any money. And that's the goal of most people. How are you a contribution if you just make it? What about you? Do you care about legacy? Do you want to leave resources for your family? Do you want to leave something to anyone that is not the government? This is how the rich have wealth for generations. They stay rich. And generally, the not rich stay not rich. And what I just explained is a variation on the standard saver. It turns out savers are losers. They often work with a scarcity mindset and end life with next to nothing. They strive to save and save and save, all while using their earnings to live. Then after a few years, they make a purchase, like a car. Then they have nothing, and they have to save and save and save to make their next purchase, maybe a house. And they just repeat this throughout life. So you may think you're getting ahead, but every time you build up some funds, you drain the account to pay for life. Well, another option is to saddle up to debt and work to get out of debt. But then you're in the compromising position of being a debtor, struggling to resurface from the interest void. But like a black hole, it sucks you back in. You take out debt, work to pay it back, but then need more money before you're able to pay off, sending you deeper into the hole. A lot of people say these are really the only two ways of being. But what if I told you there was another way? One who understands their wealth battle and creates their own bank where their money earns tax-free interest and dividends and actually takes advantage of compounding. Unlike savings where you save and save and save and save and then spend it all and then repeat the cycle and never take advantage of this compounding, a wealth battler understands leverage and works, taking advantage of uninterrupting compounding while ensuring access to their funds. All of this is done in the unassuming powerhouse, life insurance. Now, there are many obstacles in the way. The garbage we've been fed our whole lives about money, for one. Now, it takes some mental gymnastics to shift from being a saver or a debtor to being a wealth battler. We are used to financing everything, whether it's using cash and no longer having that cash to do anything else with, or using someone else's money and owing them. The greatest enemy is thyself. Most people are indoctrinated, brainwashed, MK Ultra'd into buying shit that doesn't really make their lives better before they can economically support the purchase. We see this all the time. Car salesmen ask what we want our payments to be, not how much we have budgeted for the vehicle. What are the biggest holes in budgets for the average consumer? Generally, they're vices. Eating out, coffee, entertainment, monthly subscriptions, retirement accounts with management fees or assets under management, taxes. It adds up fast, and sometimes we don't even recognize our expenses because you haven't budgeted with Kaysen. What's the fix? Yeah, budgeting with Kaysen. Know thy expenditures. It's the cardinal rule. Kaysen loves budgeting. He loves budgeting. So if you want to dive into that subject, learn how to plan forward in your financial life and design your own budget, feel free to check out our resources at wealthbattle.com/budget. If you subscribe at wealthbattle.com, you get 1 month free and you could book a one-on-one budgeting meeting with Lord Kaysen, the master of budgeting. Oh, hey, did you know the government is naughty? Taxes are our biggest expenditures. Income tax, property tax, sales tax, excise tax. What the F is that even? Estate tax. There's a lot of them. The solution is to BYOB. Isn't it always? Be your own bank. It's the best BYOB around. All right, let's talk about how this works. So you build your own bank with private mutual companies that pay out dividends to policy owners. A percentage of profit is paid out to these policy owners annually. And since it's a first in, first out vehicle, the dividends are considered an overpayment of premium and therefore not taxable. Everything paid into insurance is a premium. With a policy designed to be a bank, when you pay premiums to the insurance companies, you get a death benefit and start building cash value in your bank. As you earn interest and dividends, you feed your policy and your cash value and death benefit increase. The cash value is liquid and accessible to you as your bank. And as these policies accrue cash value, you can withdraw money from your policy with what they call a policy loan. The great part is there are no questions asked other than how much and where would you like it sent, because it's your policy and your cash value. The crazy part is that money that you're spending when you take out a policy loan isn't actually your money. It's the mutual company's money. You're staking your death benefit as collateral. As a result, your cash value continues to increase, earning interest and dividends uninterrupted, even while you spent that money. That's the magical part. So if you missed it, you have cash value in your policy and you borrow against it. The insurance company writes you a check. Your account remains intact, earning interest and dividends on the entire amount. Those interest and dividends are tax-free. And this is where compounding comes in. Now, Einstein was a smart dude, as I understand. I wasn't there, but he is said to have said that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. So for those of you not familiar with compounding and its joys, and you like fairy tales, let's hang out later. But for now, here is an example of someone's actual policy. And we can look at the internal rate of return. In year 5, the second line down, a total of $50,000 of premium have gone into this policy, and it has a cash value of $48,000. Now, that may not look super exciting until you consider that almost every dollar used to buy $1 million insurance policy is all of a sudden able to pay for a down payment on a mortgage or a nice car outright. Now let's look at year 15. $150,000 of premium are in, and your cash value is $216,000. Now the internal rate of return is 4.44%. Since the beginning of the policy every year, that is like if the same $10,000 per year had earned 4.44% interest every single year since day one. Tax-free. Now look at year 30. $192,000 have gone in. The policy can self-fund itself at this point with a cash value of almost $600,000. That's approximately 311% growth of funds in a safer than market vehicle, getting market average returns over time with liquidity all of the way, with no taxable events, because it's an insurance policy. It's so magical. So did you get it that time? Your cash value continues to earn interest and dividends in a tax-free environment while securing a death benefit, even when you're borrowing against your policy. And imagine if you borrowed your money and invested in something else that cash flows. So your policy is earning interest and dividends. You have your money invested and working for you somewhere else, and you have a death benefit. It's often called an and asset because your premiums are securing a death benefit and building up cash value and earning uninterrupted interest and dividends and are liquid and accessible, and it's freaking awesome. It changed my life. So for the rest of you that want to hang out and see some policies, we can do that too. You can see growth of funds in a safer than market vehicle, getting steady returns with liquidity all the way and no taxable events. This is one way to avoid being a saver or a debtor. You touch funds to your bank, you borrow against your death benefit, and your cash value continues to grow in the background while you protect your funds from market risk and use your funds now. So why do we want it to be insurance again? Isn't all insurance a scam? Heck no, they really got you with that one. Do your own research. The IRS doesn't tax insurance. So whether or not you have a life insurance need, it doesn't matter. We want to make it look like a good little insurance policy so the IRS keeps looking the other way. And I've got another spoiler alert. Everyone dies. There's a guaranteed outcome. If you have anyone you'd like to leave money to in the event something happens to you, they're protected. If you have children, grandchildren, you create legacy. If you have a business and want to ensure your beneficiary is adequately funded, if you're looking to pick up an awesome single lady or grow your money tax-free and leave it to anyone but the government, it is a way to ensure you multiply whatever cash you otherwise would have on hand into a death benefit that is passed tax-free and without government intervention. Now, I feel it's my duty to remove as much money as possible from the taxable system while it's still useful to me. Okay. So why is being your own bank so baller? Have you been paying attention? It's not correlated to the market. There are no hidden fees. There's contractually guaranteed interest and tax-free dividends. It's a private company with a private contract. It has substantial and unique tax advantages. You accumulate cash value. Insurance companies have long track records. They've been around for almost 200 years, well before the income tax code in 1913. This is unlike 401ks that were experiments from the 80s. We know how these play out. Your money is protected from creditors and legal action. If you own real estate, renters can be litigious, protect those funds. Accessing your funds also does not impact your debt to income ratio. Remember, these are private. I reveal the information when it works to my advantage, and I keep it private when it doesn't need to be known. And insurance companies are the ultimate long-term thinkers. They have to plan to pay out many decades down the line. And interestingly, they care about the true mortality numbers, not politics. These are smart legacy assets that allow me ultimate freedom to leverage myself and hedge my bets in any way I see fit. So this has been the wealth battle in your life. If you're tired of being bounced around by circumstance, if you tried working with the system or tried working without the system and struggle, this is the time for you to make change. Oop. Go to wealthbattle.com to learn about escaping the rat race and subscribe. We're confident you will get a return on your investment. Oh, and the first month is free. We have lectures, we play finance games, we network, we build out businesses, we budget, we're productive, we high five. Join the Wealth Battle server with hundreds of freedom-minded individuals and take steps toward your financial freedom. Wealthbattle.com. And if you're interested in learning more about designing a policy to build your own bank, come find me after this talk or shoot me a message at lisa@wealthbattle.com.